All right, so how are we going to do that? Any thoughts on how we're going to find the solution to that system of equations? People, I can't do this totally on my own. Substitute or eliminate, exactly. Let's see what we've got. Got x squared plus y squared equals 4, and x plus y equals 2. We really don't have much of a choice here. We're going to have to substitute, I think, because these are both squares, so we're going to have to substitute. So if we say x equals 2 minus y, for example, is that okay with everybody? Then we can take this and substitute in right here. So we'll have 2 minus y squared plus y squared equals 4. Did everybody follow all those steps? Now, this is a FOIL. Do not make a third-grade mistake. You don't square these, you FOIL this. So when I FOIL that, I get 4 minus 4y plus y squared. Now, I'm old, I do this for a living, I can FOIL that in my head. If you can't, you're going to FOIL it over to the side, just like this, to make sure you get the right answer. That is a quadratic equation. So I'm going to collect like terms and get a set equal to 0, and then I'll decide how I want to solve it. So I've got 2y squared minus 4y equals 0. What do you want to do with that? Okay, I already did that. What do I want to do? I can factor out a 2y. What does that tell me about my solutions then? I'm going to get 2 of them. One of my solutions is 0 and the other one is 2. Be careful though, you're not done. Your job was to find where these two things intersect each other. This is a circle, this is a line, they cross in 2 places, right? And those are points. The y-coordinates of the points are 0 and 2. You still need to find the x-coordinates. So if y is 0, x would be 2, and if y is 2, x would be 0. There are your answers, those 2 points. Anybody have a question about that? Okay, number 2, we're going to write the equation. We talked a little bit about this yesterday or the day before, and I said my suggestion to you is if you're going to write an equation, do 2 things. Draw a picture of what you've been given and set up the format of the equation you're looking for. So in this case, I'm looking for a parabola, which means I will have something squared equal to a number times something not squared. That's my format. So what does my picture look like? The focus is at 10,3. This is the focus now, not the vertex. The focus is at 10,3, and the directrix is x equals 6. Now, this is a parabola. What can you tell me about it? It opens that way. Everybody see that? So it looks like this, which means which letter is squared? Y. What else can we tell from that? The vertex right here has to be exactly in the middle of these 2, right? The focus of the directrix. So what would be the coordinates of that point if it's right in the middle of 6 and 10? 8, 3? So y minus 3, x minus 8. Everybody's keeping up? And the only thing you need to fill in is this number right here. We we know in every single parabola equation of this form, that number is 4p every single time. And what does p stand for? P is the distance between the vertex and the focus. What is it in this case? 2. P is 2, so the number that goes in the equation is 8. Positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. How does Harry know definitively that it's positive? It opens to the right. Right and up are positive.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that? B, we have an ellipse. Okay, so again, I'm going to write down my format of my equation so I can fill in some numbers. And I'm going to draw a picture of what I've been given. So I have an ellipse whose vertices are negative 2, 5. And negative 2, negative 3. And the foci are at negative 2, 1 plus or minus 7. So my ellipse looks like that. The equation is going to be x squared over something plus y squared over something equals 1. Can I fill anything in? What can I fill in? Can I find my center?
Yeah.
My center will be negative 2, comma 1. And how did you get 1? It's in the middle. You average, you found the midpoint. 5 and negative 3 is 2, and half of 2 is 1. Or if you were using graph paper, you just counted.
Could you get it from the focus?
You could get it from the focus too. So that's x plus 2, y minus 1. Now I think you could fill in this number.
16.
That's got to be a 16. Because to get your vertices, you went up and down 4. I have no idea how far sideways I went. They didn't give me these points. So I do not know what this number is. But I do know from the given that the distance from the center to the focus is root 7. So center to focus is root 7 in an ellipse. How do we find the distance from the center to the focus? Subtract the denominators. Big minus little has to be 7. So what does this number have to be?
9.
This is 4.
Yeah.
Why did you subtract 16 minus 7?
To find the distance from the center to the focus of an ellipse, of an ellipse, we subtract the denominators. That's how we do it. That's how you find the distance from the center to the focus. Okay, now we have a hyperbola. The vertices are at 2, 6, and 2, negative 10. Okay, now wait a minute. This is a hyperbola, and those are the vertices. So the hyperbola has to look like this. The format of our equation is something squared over something minus something squared over something equal to 1. Already, just by looking at what you were given, you ought to be able to fill in some of that. What does the fact that it opens up and down tell me about my equation? equation?
X is first.
What's first? Y is first. Which direction is up and down? Y. That comes first.
The other one.
What else can you tell from the given?
I'm not gonna draw the two lines.
We ought to be able to figure out our center. Our center will be 2 comma something, 2 comma -2. And again, kids, do not make that hard. What is in the middle of 6 and -10? Average them. What's the average of 6 and -10? -2. So y plus 2, x minus 2. Everybody okay? How far is it up and down to plot those vertices? How far up and down are you going? 8. What does that tell you? 64 under y? Right? Now, I didn't make the box, there was no need to, but if I were going to make the box, I would be counting up 8 and over some, right? I don't know how many over I would be going, but I would be going over some to make the box. I need to figure out this number right here. Look at the given. It tells me that my asymptotes have a slope of 4/3. Now that means up over has to be 4/3, right? So if I'm going up 8, how far over would I have to be going to get a fraction of 4/3? 6? So if I am going over 6, what has to be under here? 36, perfect. Good job. Now we got one more of those. Gotta write a circle, equation of a circle. You know what the circle equation looks like. X squared, y squared, r squared. -4, 7, and 6, 9 are the endpoints of a diameter. What is your thought?
Find the midpoint.
If we find the midpoint, that would be the center of the circle. So what's the midpoint? 1, 8. So x minus 1, y minus 8. I'm not going to talk about this again. You need the midpoint. That's the average. Add your x's, divide by 2. Add your y's, divide by 2. Good. What else do I need to fill in that last blank? We're almost done.
The distance between
I need the radius,
the center.
which would be either this distance or this distance, right?
Yeah.
So to find that distance, we'll need our distance formula. Good thing we reviewed this yesterday. 6 minus 1 squared and 9 minus 8 squared. So the radius is square root of 26. So what do I put here? 26, good. Remember, that's r squared. To get the radius, you have to take the square root of that number. Number 3. What's our strategy? We talked about this 2 days ago. We use the discriminant. So for number A, or for letter A, we need b squared minus 4ac. And I'm completely honest with you. I will deliberately try to trick you. This is so easy, but you gotta pay attention. What's A, B, and C? In problem A, what's A? What's A? 2. What's B?
-5.
And what's C? Okay, see, I've already tricked you. Ax squared, bxy, cy squared. So A is 2, B is 2, C is -5. Everybody see that? So b squared minus 4 times A times C. The actual number isn't what is important. What's important is positive, negative, or 0. So what is going to happen there? It's going to be a positive number, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what does it mean to have a positive discriminant? It's a hyperbola. So that first one is a hyperbola. Look at the second one. What's A, B, and C? A is 6, B is, and C is 2. Here we go. B squared minus 4AC. It's a negative number. That means we have an ellipse. Last one. What's A? B. C. B squared minus 4AC. What happens?
0.
You get 0, which means you have a parabola. Let's look at number 4. Do you understand the strategy here? I've listed everything, I've listed this stuff. And then I put a string, like for letter A, I put a string of numbers down there. Do you understand what you're to do? This is how your test is formatted. So whenever you see a number 1, you know you're to put the eccentricity in that blank. Number 2 would be the vertex or vertices, and so on. Okay, so what have we got in problem number 4A? What shape do we have?
Hyperbola.
That's a hyperbola. Very good, thank you. That's a hyperbola. And the first thing you're going to have to do is put that hyperbola into standard form so that you can find all that stuff, right? So I kind of grouped things. Now I'm going to complete the square. And I'm going to do this carefully because if I screw this up, my center will be wrong and then everything will be wrong. And I don't want that to happen. So when I take out my negative 16, I'm going to have negative 6. And now I'm ready to complete the square. So here we go. I'll put a 1 here. And then I'll put a 9 over here. I'll put a 9 here. but a negative 144. You need to stop me if you've got a question. Another carefully rigged problem so that everything comes out beautifully. How did I get from here to here? What did I do? Divided by 144. Okay, now we're ready to start filling in blanks. What can you tell me about my hyperbola? Center's at negative 1, 3, so we can fill that in. Everybody okay with negative 1, 3? Now, if I'm going to build the box, I'm going to count up and down 3, and sideways 4. Here are my asymptotes then. Which way is this guy open? Zach Bat says sideways, is he right? Yep, because X comes first. Which means this big black point right here and this big black point right here are the vertices. There's only 2 of them. So I need to write down those points. I need to put them in the answer blank there. So what would those points be? I counted forward 4, so this would be 3, 3, and backward 4, negative 5, 3. Those are my vertices. My foci will be back behind those black points. How far is it from the center to the focus in this hyperbola? The square root of 25, which is 5. That's center to focus. So I'm going to start at the center and go forward 5, so that would be 4, 3. And backward would be negative 6, 3. Those are your focus points, so they go in that focus blank. What's my eccentricity then? I could go ahead and fill that in. My eccentricity is distance from center to focus, which is 5, divided by center to vertex, which is 4. Let's see, we did 1, 2, 5, 6. Oh, we need the asymptotes. What do we know about our asymptotes? What slope do they have? Up 3 over 4. So one has a slope of 3/4 and one has a slope of negative 3/4. They both contain the point negative 1, 3. So you're going to write the equation whatever way you do that. So again, I'll do one using point slope and one using slope intercept. So y minus 3 equals 3/4 x plus 1. So there's one asymptote. The other one will be, oh, shoot, sorry about that, if I get done. Your homework is to finish this, okay?
Counties.
So you've got just this page yet to do. Okay? Tomorrow we'll do it again. And Tuesday then will be our, yes, John keeps me off, please, thank you.